800-pound gorilla, and we got
talking with me, Joe Gatto.
We're talking about his new special, Messing with People, which you can see he's already started doing. For kind of classic comedy, Joe, like, are there comedians who you remember watching growing up, who were kind of your heroes or something like that?
Yeah, I do. I grew up, I didn't grow up watching, I'm a movie guy. I love comedic movies. Mel Brooks is my overall number one hero of when it comes to comedy. Definitely formed a lot of that for me. The other one, I mentioned being physical comedian. I love physical comedy. So Jim Carrey is the GOAT for me. Like, I remember watching him and everything he's done, Living Color all the way through. Just remembering and watching him and seeing how funny you could use your body as a comedic weapon, you know. And then of course, like anything like even like just back in the day, like the Three Stooges, I would watch some of their stuff because my dad was a fan, so we used to watch some of that, and I could just really like see myself being that way now. Leaning into that type of comedy. But then as far as stand-up, I mean, Tim Allen was the first comedy special I ever saw. Me and my dad used to watch Home Improvement together, and I remember watching on HBO or Showtime, whatever it was, his special, and being able to stay up late with my dad and watch it. It was super cool. Richard Jenny was another big one in my house.
Yeah, of course.
Love Jenny. You know, and then just being a fan of comedy. And even now, I'm even inspired with a lot of the new comedians that are around. You know, there's so many funny people out there doing their thing.
Yeah.
So just to be able to go and watch and get inspired to be like, oh, that's really fun to see this kind of show and see the different types of formats people have and ways that people tell jokes. It's just comedy's always been inspiring. So
yeah, and growing up, you grew up on Staten Island.
Staten Island,
right?
Yeah.
Did you ever get to go into the city to see comedy or anything?
Yeah,
or
I did. I actually went down to. I went down to
to
Atlantic City more than I did the city because my dad would go down. But I remember seeing The Amazing Jonathan in AC, and it was such a like spark moment for me, like being like, wow, look at this is so fun. Like, what a cool thing to do, to be able to. I remember looking back and seeing my parents and sisters laughing, and then looking behind them and just seeing people losing their shit, and I'd be like, oh, he's doing that, that's so cool. And then I was just watching and laughing as well. And that was pretty cool for me. I think I put him in there for me as well, where it was like somebody, when I saw them perform live, I was like, oh, this is
totally
really cool.
Watching somebody else do that, and also watching somebody else make your family laugh.
100%.
You know,
but then even just like Lisa Lampanelli, I befriended. You know, I wasn't even necessarily younger, but I was young in my career. It was before I even started, you know, doing Jokers, and she was just always around, and I would just go see her shows. And I just remember watching her being so unlikable and people loving her. And I'm like, what a talent that is. Like, she is saying the meanest things and people can't get enough of her. And I loved her. She's so nice. And I was like, this is so funny just to see that. And that just opened my eye to a different like persona you could have on stage, or the type of things you could do. So like even those, like, it was always inspiring me all the way through. So from like Mel Brooks all the way up to now, you know, so.
And you guys, you and the guys started by doing improv and sketch on stage, right?
Improv comedy. We started improv comedy, then we moved to sketch comedy, then we moved to filmed comedy that lived online,
right?
With the big breakouts of MySpace and YouTube, and then we ended up, you know, having a couple failed TV pilots, and then boom, Jokers for a decade, and then on to the next thing.
But it's pretty cool in stand up to get back to kind of the pure roots of comedy and of live performance. There's kind of nothing like that.
Yeah, live performance is great. You get the instant, you know, satisfaction, but for me, it's also the event of it all, because especially now, life is there's so much craziness going on. So if you could get people to forget about all the bullshit for an hour, you're doing your job as not only as a comic, but as a human. So I think to be able to be out there and give people a genuine good night, because everybody's dealing with something, everybody's got something going on, just to be an escape is the most important part of my job for me.
Totally. Like, what was the moment where you were like, you know what, I'm ready to put this hour down and share this with my fans?
Yeah, I think it was the thing that I knew I was ready to shoot it and share it is when I did The Beacon in New York.
Ah, cool.
That was probably one of the best nights of my comedy career. It was such a great night, and felt like it was really, like, I felt like it was like, oh, this is really strong. This is great. I feel like this is good. But even before that, like a year before that, I had started playing some colleges and whatnot and bigger crowds. And it was like, I was seeing the breadth of people that were coming out. I was like, I'm getting families that are coming out to see me. These young kids that grew up on me. Yeah. Right? Because if you think about kids in college, right? I was on TV for a decade. Yeah. They started watching me when they were 10, 12 years old. You know, they grew up with me. So it's really interesting. I could imagine being like, that'd be like me going to see Tim Allen and being like, oh my God, when I was like in my, you know, late teens, early 20s. So that would be like that was kind of an interesting thing for me to feel like I'm ready, because I was like, a lot of type of people want to see it, not just Joker's fans.
Yeah,
it was
totally.
like just people that knew me from that, but then came back to see it or brought people. You know, I would start saying, how many people have seen me before? And there'd be less and less claps. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. New people coming out to see it.
Yeah, that's great. And especially for those people who grew up with you.
Yeah.
To then kind of, they're growing up and then to see you evolve as a comedian too, kind of at the same time.
I'll get that a lot from people too. Like people will meet me after the show and be like, you were so funny. And I'm like, you sound surprised.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like, but truly they don't know what to expect. They know me from a TV show.
They don't know if they're about to get messed with probably in the audience.
So I think that's why another part I was really excited to put the special out was people could see me in this format and come to appreciate me in this format as well.
Do you ever have that, Joe, that because of the show, people don't trust you?
Oh, all the time. I tell a story all the time about this. There's this woman in Target, working in Target. I was trying to find a paper towels, a little old lady in a red vest. I'm like, excuse me. I was like, I got to wear the paper towels, and she starts backing away from me. He goes, oh no, Joe, you're not getting me. And she like ran away from me. I'm like, you think I'm filming right now in Target? Wouldn't you know? And she was like running, and I was running down the parallel ends, and we're yelling to each other down the aisle. I'm like, well, I just need paper towels, and she's like, no. So weird. I can't get help anywhere. People
I'm afraid that's gonna be a problem. You're gonna be, having a heart attack, and the paramedics are gonna show up. Oh, we're not falling for this one, man. Send the ambulance.
Larry,
back.
we gotcha.
Okay. So you mentioned that show at the Beacon. So then the special that was shot on Long Island.
Yeah,
right?
gotta bring it home, baby.
Yeah. So how did that must have felt like a real triumphant kind of homecoming.
Yeah.
What was that night? What was the night of the special actually like? What did that feel like?
Well, I love that venue. I go there as a fan to see things. So to be able to perform, and I had performed there with the Jokers, met the people that run the place, and instantly clicked and loved them. They're a good bunch of people there. I would consider some of them friends. And when it was time to film it, I had to take the jump from, in the beginning when I started to tour, I had to take the jump from comedy clubs to theaters because I'd be working harder, not smarter, and I wouldn't be able to see everybody that wanted to come out. So I would do, 5 shows over a weekend, and just instead of being able to do one theater show in a night and then move closer or whatever. So I had to do a theater, and one of the first theaters I did, I think it was the first theater I did, was the Paramount in Huntington. Cool. So I remember getting up on that stage, on a theater stage by myself for the first time and being like, oh, this is interesting. But I also remember being like a plane taking off on a runway because I'm so physical and being able to have so much room.
Yeah.
And there my show really evolved from a stand-up stage performance to a theater night out performance for me.
Yeah.
I really feel like it made a big jump there. So I felt like it was only right to bring it back home to where it all started, and especially being my hometown, a place I love. And it just worked for the filming of it. It's a beautiful space. We were able to get the cameras angles I wanted and all that from a production angle because I'm very involved in that as well. So it was like, it just everything clicked with it for me.
Yeah. Do you bring your kids to your shows?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
They could repeat some of it, which is not good for most of it because I'm not beeped in real life. But for the most part, they do great, and they can't wait till the end when they get to run out on stage. So I knew I wanted to put that in my special. I knew I wanted them to be part of it, especially with this part of my life and my story about coming back into the family and refocusing on some of that stuff. So it was great to have my kids there. And it's funny, with one of the camera angles, like a little Easter egg for people watching the special, is my daughter wore a pink sweater and she was on the balcony.
Is that her?
So that's her. On some of the angles, you see her in the corner jumping up and down and clapping. Yeah. Which is fun. But she's not there for the whole show. She's there for parts of the show. And you could see her sometimes when we go to that angle. And originally I was like, oh, but then I was like, you know what? I wanted to see her clap.
No, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that's another great part of your comedy, and honestly the comedy you've done through your career, is that it's something that people of all ages can enjoy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that it takes a lot to make something that's truly an adult thing that can make adults laugh, but is also good to watch with the whole family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have your kids been out on the road with you?
Yeah. I take them every year between Christmas and New Year's. They come to that little 4 or 5 day stint, which is really fun. And we have a great time together. It's just the 3 of us.
Yeah.
I give Bessie some time to get the house back in order and hang
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
get her
yeah.
little mini vacation after the holidays, which is great, before we reconvene for New Year's. But she loves it because the kids just have such a blast and they can't wait to come home. And
Yeah, what a
talk
cool
about it.
special
Yeah.
thing. So, like, your kids are hanging out in the green rooms
Yeah.
of comedy clubs and theaters.
Of
and
theaters,
stuff?
yeah. They're at all these cool theaters.
Yeah.
They run on the stage before, help us with sound check. It's really cool. Sometimes if we have like a bus, they get to go on the bus, which is fun. But for the most part, it's just like, it's all about like just being together. And
Do you think either of them have the performing bug? And like, would you, if one of your kids came to you and said, I want to be a comedian, would you say, don't do that? Or would you say, go for it?
my parents were super supportive of me, so I think that just runs in the.
They were?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom and dad were. Well, my dad passed on. My dad passed away earlier in my life, but my mom was very much like, I remember telling my mom I was going to move to LA to chase a dream in 2003. And she was like, okay, but you got to come back when it doesn't work out. And I was like, thank you. But she was like super supportive for me going and stuff, which is sweet. She came out to visit me, but then she was like, she was still alive when season 1 premiered, and she was like a peacock walking all over Staten Island, being like, my son's on TV. Like one of those, like, she was so funny. And she was around for all the first season, so she got to see like it catch fire, which was really nice.
That's lovely, Joe. Because I think a lot of comics are able to get their families on board once they have the success. That you've had, but it's not everybody who has a supportive family from the get-go. And I kind of, you can kind of feel that you're someone whose family's important. That comes out in the special. A lot.
For sure.
I wanted to just give a chance to maybe talk about some of your charity work and the shelter. And
my dogs. My dogs are a big part of the dogs are a big part of my life, and they end up making their way into the special as well. My dogs. I have Gatto Pups and Friends. It's a nonprofit that I run, but the Gatto Pups are 11 dogs that live with me. They're my 11 dogs that aren't up for adoption, and they're all named after Italian treats and desserts and pasta.
Can you
dishes,
list them all right now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I got cannoli, biscotti, tartufo, Napoleon, struffola, spumoni, chestnut, and then we got fettuccine Alfredo, the brother and sister fettuccine Alfredo, and then Mocha, who's the little zombie dog, with the tongue hanging out, 16-year-old. We just celebrated Mocha's 16th birthday. And who am I forgetting? Cannoli biscotti. I'm forgetting one. I always forget one. Napoleon's great because he thinks he's a big dog. He's not. He's a German Shepherd and Corgi mix. So it looks like somebody left a German Shepherd in the dryer. Like he's like a little version. But they're a big part of it. And, the adoption has been great. Running the charity has been great. I've been able to spend time with that part of my life, which has been fantastic with the nonprofit. So we operate out on Long Island, and it's a senior rescue. So we rescue mostly senior and unwanted dogs, which is great because there's a lot of them that need homes. And my wife just used to collect these old dogs, and they'd be mine. And I was like, we could do better than this if we start like helping them find homes. So I think we just got our 110th dog adopted this week, which is great.
That's awesome, man.
So
that's very cool.
It's been so fun. So Gatto Pups and Friends. That's
beautiful.
This has been fun. Thanks. Now, guys, it's time. Messing with People premieres right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the special as much as I did making it.